Hello, my noble band of outlaws. Outlaw Samurai coming at you live with a video. Well, continuing my AVP playlist, I have a conundrum I'd like to make a video on and see how it responds. Now, first of all, we all know the Xenomorph life cycle. Yes, I'm focusing on Xenomorphs right now. Start out as the egg, face hugger, chest burster, Xenomorph, repeats. But my theory is it possible for a Xenomorph drone to become a queen? Now, whenever we see a queen Xenomorph, we always see her surrounded by her drones. And we know that the royal face hugger, which more times than not I believe has a red hue to it, to distinguish it from the whitish, milkish gray hues of the others. We always see that the queen Xenomorph is always surrounded by her drones. She's already laid the eggs. But is it possible that a drone can be born with the capabilities of becoming a queen Xenomorph? Similar to how Yautja, or the Predators, evolved from young bloods to blooded to elite to veteran and so on and so forth. Is it possible? Well, I've come up with a few evidential theories to support my claim. Again, this is a theory video. I don't know if it's possible or not, and I don't know if it's been already recorded down in Predator lore. But my theory is, it is possible for a drone to become a queen Xenomorph, and here's how. Okay, so first off, we know that the queen Xenomorph, it's already grown to full maturity, but let's say a Yautja, he manages to kill off everybody, including the queen, except for one Xenomorph. Now, that Xenomorph, I believe, if the queen dies, I actually have this theory that if the queen was to die, then one of her drones would ascend to become the queen after she died, if a few of her drones lived, and if the royal facehugger was destroyed. Now, my evidence to support this comes from real-world bees and insects, because we know that bees and ants, they hive and they have a queen, a matriarch. And when the queen dies, another ant will rise to the rank of queen. Alright? One of the other female ants will become the next queen, and the same with the bees. One of the other females will become the new queen. Now, I'm thinking that Xenomorphs are very much similar in the sense that if the royal bloodline, so to speak, was to be eradicated, that means the queen Xenomorph and the royal facehugger were to die, then if one of her drones survived, and naturally this process might take a while, the surviving drone may very well evolve into a new queen. And I'm basing this theory on real-world insects and creatures that hive. We've never really seen this with the Xenomorphs in the Predators franchise, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it was either Predator 2 or Predator 3, where I think her name was Eleanor Ripley, where Ripley, speaking of Ripley, I just let one rip. Funny. Well-timed pun that I didn't mean to do. But in any case, Ripley was infected with the Queen Xenomorph's chest burster. That's why all the other Xenomorphs, they didn't try to kill her. Because they knew that, okay, this chick's carrying our future queen, we can't hurt her or touch her until the queen emerges from Ripley's chest. However, Ripley, if I remember correctly, not only killed herself, but also the Xenomorph's queen and the rest of the Xenomorphs. Now, the way my theory works is, let's take that scene, let's take Ripley's death scene and change it around a little bit to where instead of her just straight out dying, what happens is a few of the Xenomorphs actually manage to survive the encounter. Like, let's say one or two of the Xenomorphs managed to survive and somehow they got onto an alternate planet. We'll say it managed to board an escape vessel. They get on this planet, and naturally, through nature finding its way, this Xenomorph would probably either attempt to build a hive for itself, or over the course of time, grow into the status of a queen. I really do believe that if given the time and the resources, that a normal drone Xenomorph could potentially evolve into a queen. Or grow into a queen. We've never really seen this in any of the Predator franchise that I'm aware of. We haven't seen it in AVP, we didn't see it in AVP 2, or any of the 3 Alien movies, or the prequel trilogy to the Alien movies, or the 4 Predator movies. But we have, in turn, seen it in other franchises, where it's like, with all that in mind, we have actually seen the Predators take on Xenomorphs on other planets. So, with that in mind, I'm thinking that if the Xenomorphs, if an entire nest was wiped out, except for a few survivors, then the surviving Xenomorphs, one of them could become more dominant than the others and rise to power, or they could fight with each other, and the strongest Xenomorph would, it would be treated the best, and eventually it would rise to the status of a queen. Now, without actually seeing this in canon, we cannot prove this. But as my theory states, nature and evolution will always find its way, including with the Xenomorphs. Because there's different types of Xenomorphs. And another way that I can support this, we actually have seen a similar phenomenon in AVP Requiem. With the Predalien. The Predalien was able to reproduce without the use of facehuggers. As we saw, the Predalien was able to create an extreme amount of Xenomorphs very quickly. The Predalien was basically a queen. And with that in mind, I really do believe that given the circumstances, given proper circumstances, and with the right species, because the Predalien was part predator, part alien. And with that in mind, nature found its way. Now granted, a facehugger did impregnate the Predator earlier in the movie, but the Queen didn't impregnate him. It was just a normal, low-level Xenomorph drone facehugger. It was the combination of the Predator and the alien genomes that allowed the Predalien to produce without the use of facehuggers. So if we really think about this, then Predaliens are a prime example of the ability to produce without facehuggers. But there's also the fact that when it comes to the predators and the aliens, we don't really know how predators reproduce. Given how their body structures are designed, I would feel like it would be a very much similar reproductive cycle to a human. But with the aliens, they hatch, again, they go from egg, facehugger, chestburster, xenomorph, and it repeats in a cycle. So with that in mind, I really do believe that if they are given the time and the resources, if their hive was wiped out, a xenomorph drone could evolve into a queen based on the evidence we've already seen, where it was a low-rank xenomorph drone. It wasn't the royal facehugger that impregnated the predator. It was just a normal standard drone. So, if they find the right host, I believe that a xenomorph could most likely evolve into a queen, or if given the circumstances where the hive is wiped out, or the queen and the royal facehugger are both destroyed, then given enough time, eventually one xenomorph may rise above the others, Messiah style, and it's just take over as queen, and then she starts to produce eggs. But those are just my thoughts, my opinions. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you like the video, share it via Facebook, I guess Twitter, Instagram, what have you, whatever social media floats your boat. And smash that like button if you like my Predator content, I guess. So, until next time, Outlaw Samurai tells all y'all, be crazy rednecks, be safe when using your weapons. I'm out. Peace.